Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. We are going to be working on challenge mode today. Hey, Kevin. Adam is going to be working on challenge mode. Challenge. Find out more via challenge. There should only be a morning stream today. And what else do I want to say? The specific focus will be on finishing battle perks. I've been thinking about this stuff. Yeah, how's it going, Kevin? Um, oh, wait, I should do it this way. Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I want to make some progress through this list. And here's where we left off. I need to commit what I've done and then make tooltips, figure this out for complex stats, not choosing perks by reusing the UI class we already made. Actually modify the corresponding data sort. What was this supposed to be? I think this is done. I'm not totally sure what that. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. So I think we're done with that. Okay, let's go get ready to commit this thing. I need to find more. I need to know more about challenge mode. How's your work going? So we calculate these three things. These are stats that get stored in the stats component. That's why. Oh, but this doesn't get done when you choose a perk. Or does it? Did I call this function? I do. So when you hire an adventurer, does this get called? Huh, it does. Okay, well then everything's working totally fine there. Well, well, well. Okay, yeah, looks good. All right, fixed linting issue. That I should probably figure out. The rest of this is fine. This stuff, this needs to be deleted. Why do we even do this? I guess I'm deleting this. Yeah, so this is the only file I think I want to look through. Adventurer battle perks. And I should probably put a comment for what this thing even is. This keeps track of all of the battle perks that you've gotten across all adventurers, even ones that you haven't hired yet. So this exists no matter what, but it's only in challenge mode that this actually does anything. Going good? Close to becoming actually productive? That's nice. Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I started at Google, I was like, I'm gonna make code changes as soon as possible, blah blah blah. And I was trying to rush things for kind of no reason. And it was I think it was a bad idea for me. I'm not saying you're trying to rush things. I'm just saying that was my experience. I was like, I'm gonna be the best there ever was. I'm gonna catch all of them, train them as my true cause, Pokemon. And yeah, they did not want me raising Pokemon at the company. A couple of Pidgeys got into a pretty brutal fight. It was bad. Yeah, so this, I want to figure out how to do this better. But I think I'm going to fix this in just the next commit after this. So what do we do in this change? Oh, that's got to be fixed. We keep track of battle perks and we allow you to choose battle perks. Okay. Allow choosing battle perks. There are only 3 right now, but they actually do take effect correctly. Lots of little rough edges still. Okay, so the next thing is figuring out that fixed linting issue. This. How do we do this? It wants us to use try get value. But what I need is for this thing to be set. I guess we could do this. Actually, I'm not certain how this is going to work. If data.try get value. I guess if it doesn't exist, then set perks equal to a new dictionary. and set this thing and then delete this stuff. Converting null, literal, or possible null to non-nullable type. Variable declaration can be inlined. Oh, can it? Okay, never mind. Then that explains it. Yeah. All right, now I think we're cooking here. Yeah, Andre. Planning a Pokemon competitor and Adam causes to get shut down. Yeah, they don't approve of that stuff. I think you need to define perks outside there. Yeah, apparently not. So now this one, what is the problem here? I guess this is question mark. And we fixed the linting issues. So now we can try to run this and hope that it works. So I think I took a picture of what the warrior stats are by default. Yeah, 195. So let's just look at 195. So we need to choose battle per. Oh, this this won't work. That's why we had the farm. Okay, I got to think about that. I don't know what we're supposed to do there. Battle perks cost sludge, but you can't get sludge without the farm or pond. And we don't even show the sludge value when you don't have those things. We should probably just always show it in challenge mode. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. All right, so then back to town, back to skip tutorial, back to create farm, and sludge equals 500. There. I wasn't able to test this because I didn't have the currency I need to be able to buy the perk, but now we have it. Buy. Okay, so we're looking for the warrior. Just ignore all the ones that aren't. So there's the warrior. That's plus 10. Now we need to find them one more time. There, now it's plus 20. So when I hire all the... Oh, yeah. When I hire all the adventurers, now I should have 215. Yeah. Yeah. Now what about the cleric? Let's try them. 188. We need the cleric to show up. Oh, come on. Okay, there it is. So now it should be 198. Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. Fix linting errors. Did the code get smaller? Not that I really care because I had to fix this anyway. No, it's exactly the same. It did fix a lookup. That was the whole reason why the linting error existed. And then this one, I'm kind of surprised it... Oh, no, it did. I didn't change that code. No, I did change that code. I'm surprised it didn't tell me about that sooner. Fix linting issues. Yeah. Hey, Joss. Hey, TJ. Why do we go the full panel for getting the perks? Dialogue would be too small. Dialogue would be harder for you to look at later. So let's say you get these 3 perks and you're like, hold on a second though. What do I have? What do I have in the rest of the town, or what else do I want to do? So like this was a nice way of having you always come back to the same spot and not worry about how you would like resummon it. And then also, yeah, I think a dialogue would be too small. We will potentially allow for 4 choices at a time. And with battle perks will probably be small enough. Those would be fine to put in a dialogue if we wanted to. But yeah, it was just the ability of like, oh, let me go back to here, or let me look at these tabs. I'm not sure. We can easily move where this stuff is. I just want to get something working, and that's the other piece of this is we are just trying to make everything work for a V1 for playtesters or playtesters, and we're just trying to move forward with this stuff. So if it turns out that any of this feels bad or we could have it look better, I think we will make those changes. Cool that it shows level tables. Yeah. I think this is nice. This stuff needs to be worked on, but it's coming together. All right, change the tooltips. That's down there, and then figure out complex stats. So let's do that. So stats to do it first. Anything we already have a buff for in the code base, and thorns, which is counterattack with a 100% chance. Also skill points, figure that out. Okay, let's write the figure skill points out down here. Figure out skill points and skills. And offer them as perks. All right, so anything we have a buff for, easier said than done. Let's go just search for the word buff.cs and then... All right, that's quite a lot. Seriously? Okay, yeah, that's quite a lot. All right, let's search for buff colon effect. Wait, how do we do this? Power buff? Oh, you can't search for that. Okay, well, you can search for public class and then dot star capital buff. Yeah. All right. Well, we're just looking for the basic ones. Where are the basic ones? None of those. None of those. Chance of miss is a debuff. Why is it finding debuffs at all? Oh, because I didn't do case sensitive searching. Drat. Oh, well, whatever. Let's just ignore that then. Cloak of Shadows. So counterattack we're going to do. So here's one of them. Damage received. Oh, debuff. I was like, how is that a buff? There's another one. None of this stuff matters. Gravel. Haste. Healing received. Heal over time. Heart of the Forest. Lifesteal. Okay, we're slowly collecting all of these up. Power, that's a good one. Preparedness, resident healing, shield bash, shield unity, steady shooting, stun, sudden death, taunt, wild shot. Oh man, there could be some kind of cool ones like your warrior always has taunt active. Okay, that's apparently it. It's just these ones. Why does that seem like a shorter list than I thought it should be? We have 8? And I'm guessing 3 of them are... No, there's no life one. There's power, there's fortitude, though. So these are probably not needed. I think just modifying stats is fine. So yeah, let's delete those. So it's damage mitigation, dodge, haste, healing received, which I'm not sure I want to do, life regeneration in battle, and life steal. And then we wanted thorns as well. Let's just paste all these over there. Yeah. All right, so fortitude, omit because we already have the raw stat. And then same thing down here. And then don't make this a link. Let's just delete the CSs, I guess. That way they don't turn into links. Okay. All right, yeah, let's get started with one of these. So perk ID, we will put in the first one, which is damage mitigation. And it's a percentage. Wait, there's no real reason to do this. Yeah, this is covered by fortitude. Omit because it's covered by fortitude. All right, and I guess let's start with dodge. Dodge equals 4. All right, so how do we add a battle perk? I guess we could just search for this. Yeah. So let's delete this. Let's add in dodge. Dodge needs to be some like small chance. Honestly, 5% is pretty crazy. Maybe even 3% is fine. Although I think 3% doesn't feel impactful enough. But this is a 3% chance to avoid all damage. It's like strictly better than fortitude would be. And so this will work. This will just flow through the system totally fine. The problem is that nothing will then create the effect that we need. So I gotta go figure that out. What's your opinion on the future of Web3 blockchain from a dev perspective? I don't really keep my ear to the ground on that front. So I don't know. I think one of the things that has kind of been interesting to see is there's all this stuff going on with itch and Steam and payment processors. And some people are like, hey, why don't you use cryptocurrency? And other people are like, well, it's not stable. And it's like, yeah, I guess decentralized payments aren't that useful if you can't count on the value of your money remaining stable. So I do kind of wonder from that perspective, what's the adoption outside of as an investment and as a like financial scheme vehicle, which is not a good thing. So yeah, anyway, that's my like outsider opinion on this. Very basic. We have a perk formatter somewhere. I don't remember where that is. Here it is. Okay, but we don't need to do anything special here. It's just when we start a battle that we need to look through all of your perks. Since this is the first one, we need it to get set up when you start a battle. Yeah, you're looking for something in particular, Villainous? So battle system, create player battlers. Here it is. And then we initialize it. All right, so somewhere we add a bunch of effects. I don't know where we do that. It's not here. Where do we even add the effects component? Because it has to be after that we do this. I talked about bot coin a lot while I was making Botland. People are like, is that a cryptocurrency? Want an opinion from an experienced dev? Got it. Thanks. Okay. Yeah, sure. I guess what I was wondering more. Well, anyway, I'm not trying to belabor this, but was it like a developer's perspective from the point of developing, let's say, smart contracts or something like that? But yeah, I've never done that sort of thing. So where is the effects component? I don't know. Effects component. Here it is. It's in init. Okay, so it's right here. So when this thing happens to be an adventurer, which is right here, then what we could do is we could add in any start of battle effects. But I don't think that's something the battler should do, although it could. Is there anything else that's special about this? It could go anywhere. It could just be a static function somewhere. In fact, maybe putting it in adventurer battle perks as a static function is the best idea. I gotta think about that. Any function can do this by taking in, what does it need? An adventurer. It needs adventurer battle perks, which comes from town. And something else. No, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So then maybe we just put it as a function on here. Yeah, we could say like public void add effects to battler. Yeah. Building 1 or 2 projects on it for resume is good, right? I think any dev project is good. I think that in particular is probably good if you're trying to get a job at a like blockchain based company, because then it's more salient to the experience you're going to be doing on the job. So as an example, by the way, this is pretty much true for anything, right? If you're applying for web dev, then I think like web projects are good for your resume. If you're applying for, any X dev, game dev, crypto dev, anything like that, then X projects are what you want. Outside of that realm, I don't think it probably has as much impact. Like if you're applying for game dev and you have like crypto projects, I don't think it's going to be like, oh yeah, this is great. Let's hire this person. It's not going to necessarily reflect poorly on you. I don't think it's going to be as relevant as if you just said, hey, I worked on these 3 games. Hey, Mysterious. Now for back-end related jobs. Yeah, I'd probably focus on the back-end specific stuff you're doing. And this is just like resume 101, which is like tailor your experience to what you're applying for. So you probably have like, I don't know, like I worked at a grocery store at one point just as a cashier. Like if I were applying to a grocery store, I would definitely list that. If I were applying for a software engineering job, I would not even tell people about that. It's just not relevant. So the back end aspect of what you're doing is relevant to back end jobs. I'd focus on that part of it. The domain doesn't really matter as much unless you find that relevant, or the company might find it relevant, which they might not. Then again, we're in another kind of problem with hiring right now where I don't think many people are even reading resumes. I think it's all being read by AIs right now. So I'm not really sure how much it's going to even be seen by a human. Add player battlers. Okay, so once we've initialized the battler, we can then do this. Do we have the town here? We do. Okay. Town dot adventurer battle perks dot set up. What do I call this? Add effects to battler. And this takes in a battler. Doesn't need to be though, right? It just needs to be an entity. Yeah, this will be better. All right, add effects or like set up effects. I like that better. Set up effects for battler. Battler. Done. Hey, Captain Anosa. How goes Skeleseller? Been a minute since I checked in. It's going well. We're working on challenge mode, which has a tiny description right there. I can show you in just a sec. How did what was it called? Memory? How did memory go? Did you end up playing for 5 hours? Is Practical NPC still streaming? Have they been freed from their stream prison? I don't see them online. So I'm gonna assume that they got freedom. It's good. Yeah, let me think about this. So let's say we need to get what perk IDs you have here. We need to know what adventurer they are. So yeah, we need to do fetch their adventurer class, then to do look up any perks, and then convert those perks to effects. Yeah. Played it for about 4 hours and had to hop off. Oh, 1 hour away from extending the marathon. Extremely challenging. Yeah, those kinds of precision jumping games, I think it's necessary what he did and what Celeste did, which is you're able to restart very quickly. So it's not like, oh, I got to get through the entire level again. But yeah, I think it takes a very specific kind of person to want to keep doing that. But it looked like in the genre, it was a good game. Hey, Karada. I know it's a stupid question, but how many lines do you think the project has become at this point? I wonder sometimes such things deep into development of project. I think we're at about 30,000 lines. Kevin every once in a while ran the numbers on this, and I just never downloaded a program that lets me do this, but there's like count lines of code clock as a binary, and I just don't even have this. But yeah, probably about 30,000 lines, something like that. Okay, so fetch their adventurer class. Let's get that. Corresponds to adventure component, CTAC equals this. Get component, it's ECS.get component. Get component or null. This must exist. So if it doesn't exist, then just return and don't do anything. Oh yeah, I guess this game is already running. I can kind of show you what we're doing. So the challenge mode concept, we have a couple things here. One, we now have a challenge mode button on the front page of the game. After you beat the normal game is when this would show up. So like imagine that you started the game, you would still just see new, load, and quit. So you go into challenge mode. It gives you some information on it. Challenge mode starts you with some buildings that the main game mode wouldn't. And then everything you do in challenge mode is essentially a roguelike set of options. So when you click buy perk, you're actually presented with one of 3 perks and you have to choose. So maybe you choose this one and now customers will move slightly faster. And then the next time around, you might get presented with different ones. I mean, this is basic roguelike stuff. Then the same thing with battle perks, which is what we're working on right now. You'll be able to choose who do you want to upgrade, and you'll be able to see some random stats that show up here. Then kind of the same thing for buildings. You'd be able to see like, do you want either the warehouse or the enchanter's den, and you'd pick between those, and same thing for adventurers. I love choosing between 3 things. Which do you like best? Choosing between 2 things, 3 things, or 4 things. It in itself is a 3-thing choice. Last time I checked, it was approaching 40K. Yeah, okay, it's somewhere in that range then, 30 to 40K. All right, so this is if you don't have an adventurer component. So then if we do, we get an adventurer, which means we need to get their adventurer class, which I guess we could have done. No, we couldn't have done that way. All right, so adventurer component AC. Actually, I don't even care about this. Adventurer class equals, do we have adventure component dot get adventure class? We do. Wow, look at that. Okay, so now we have the adventure class. So with the class, we can now use this dictionary to find out which perks you have. And there's actually get perk value for adventurer. I want to get perks for adventurer. Maybe I'll make a public. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. What are we doing here? Dictionary, battle perk ID, get perks for adventure. Try get value return. This could potentially be empty. I guess this is fine then. Yeah, this is good. 4 is too much, 2 is too little, 3 is perfect. Sometimes 4 for special things. I've been talking about this a lot, but I think this is kind of an evergreen mechanic in games, which is why roguelike games are pretty popular in almost every genre. Like roguelike is not really a genre now. It's like a subgenre of basically every other genre. You can have FPS and then FPS roguelike, and you can have RPG and RPG roguelike, and so on and so forth with pretty much everything you could imagine. And people have been doing this with everything you could imagine. We now have like roguelike Plinko games and roguelike card games and roguelike whatever. They all exist. The only thing I can't remember seeing is a roguelike racing game, and I think we talked about this. Is there one? Has anyone seen one? I think that could be kind of cool. It makes what should be an enjoyable experience anxiety inducing. You know, there are some ice cream shops that I think try to have a ton of flavors, but the ones near me at least seem to have like 10 flavors at most. I don't know if that's stress inducing for you. Must be. Yeah, I wonder if one of those has gotten popular. Because I think it would be cool to do. Yeah, I like the roguelike ideas in games. Okay, so we get the adventurer class and we look up any perks. So to get the perks, that was easy. And now convert them to effects. So we go through, whoops, what in the world? What did I just do? I think I accidentally closed that. Yeah, there we go. All right, so the way I like doing this instead is like this. Perk ID, data. There we go. So if it is a dodge perk, then we add a new dodge buff. And I don't remember how we do this. I guess we can look at how we poison something. So let's look at zombie bite. And let's look at poison. Here it is. It's like so. So we should get their effects component then over here. Effects component, EC. All right, so how do we do this? We make a dodge buff. Actually, let's just make a new one like this. So it has what here? An affected entity and a source entity. So both of these are going to be the battler. Then it has a duration. No, it has a percent increase. The percent increase is going to be the data.delta. And then what's that last one? A duration. The duration is going to technically be infinite, so float.max value. And then we want to add this to like that. And then get rid of the extra parentheses we have. Or add more parentheses. I'm waiting for this thing to just fix itself. Oh man, fine, I'll read this. No, this part looks fine. What am I missing here? Another closing curly brace. There we go. All right, and that'll do it. Except for this part, apparently. There is no argument given that corresponds to entity. That is battler. All right, cool. That hates ice cream anyway. I do not hate ice cream. I'm just very particular. A particular person. So if this is not covered here, we should have this. We should do something like this. Health, power, fortitude. These are all just do nothing. Intentionally do nothing. They would have already been counted as stats. And then in any other case, we want to throw an exception. Throw new not implemented exception. Come on, write out the thing. Write out the thing for me, AI. Do the trick. Okay, adventurer, set up perks, unhandled perk ID. For adventurer class. The adventurer class doesn't really matter probably, but let's leave it there. Okay, cool. All right, so this should work. Let's try it out by cranking up how much dodge you get to 50%. And then we need to change the formatter for this. I don't even know where that is. Where is it? V::P0. Oh, there it is. I'm glad I remember these things because it makes it easier to find. What a specific search string. Okay, so now we should be able to test it. Who do we have? We have the archer. Let's pick someone who does not have dodge on their own. So the warrior. Okay, now we need to find the warrior here. Okay, so we get plus 50% dodge. So if I just don't pick that and I go into a battle in the forest, actually, let's go into a battle in the volcano so there are more things attacking me. I'm gonna die. There should be no dodging going on because I never picked the thing. Miss means that I'm missing an attack, not the bat missing. So yeah, I'm dying here. Now we're gonna give you dodge chance. So this will be 50%. So now it's gonna repeat the battle. I'll speed this up. And now half the time it should not take damage at all. Yep, dodge, dodge. Yep, I think it's exactly three for 3 so far. Now it's 5 for 6. Now I'm lost count. I think 6 for 9. And yeah, whatever. Anyway, it's 50%. That looks pretty good. Now we're going to get it again, and they should be invincible. We just need to find the warrior, which we have not found. There. Okay, so now they should be invincible. There'll be no way for them to take damage at all. Yep. All right, and that's it. Now we just need to do this like 5 more times for all the other stats. Now, obviously, you should not be able to get to this level of power in the game. But that's why we're going to go tone this back down to a 3% chance. Okay, so dodge has been coded. In fact, maybe we check just this in. This is done. This is done. Add dodge battle perk. Add battle perk for dodge chance. Since this is the first one of its kind, I wanted to check this in on its own. All right, let's look at the code. Set up effects for battler. Yeah, I should write a comment for this. This converts. Yep, that's it. Wow, look at that. Hey, Rudy. Need to get more motivation to start working on game dev again. Have you still been making music? Because I was going to say, there are only so many creative endeavors one can engage in at a time. This is why I can't go to Subway. What bread would you like? Goodbye. All right, so fortitude. I guess there's already a to-do item here. I'll just leave that as is. Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's good. That's good. Okay, so everything other than town we got to check in. All right. Okay, let's go code the other ones. Haste buff. I am a little bit wary about haste in this game because there's a potential problem of haste feedback into infinite attacks, which would break the battle system. Or you can put a cap on it. Yeah, we could put a cap on it, but it's very risky right now. I think especially because of the cleric. So let's go code it, and then we can figure out the balancing later, maybe. It's just so risky. So there's haste. Now we add it in here. I'll also just make it be 3% for now. And then we just got to go find this. And we make a new case for haste. Oh, and a new case up here. Where's the, I got to find this again. So dodge, haste. Yeah. All right, this is going to be a haste buff. And that's it, we're done. Easy. Why is there a space here? Oh, I could delete that. All right, so let's go try to break this now. I'm scared about this. So let's make it a 10% haste buff and see what happens. I have to code stuff. I always spend a day or two and then I lose motivation. I don't know if this is private information or not, but are you coding stuff for Kit? I always thought you were on his team. I know you're a mod. Maybe that's why I thought you were coding stuff. Also, feel free to not answer. I'm not trying to get you to reveal personal information. I don't think it's personal info that you're a mod in his channel. Okay, so here we go. You have haste now. And actually what's kind of interesting is I didn't mean to put 3 of these there, but it... Wait a sec, then it's not picking 2 of these, is it? And only pick 2? Yeah. Also work on server security. Okay, yeah. All right. I was not mistaken on that front. Yeah, so I mean, that's probably why, right? You're already doing a ton. There's a book that I really liked called Laziness Does Not Exist. It basically goes into this idea that what most people ascribe to laziness is really either you're already doing too much, you have some kind of psychological disorder, maybe ADHD, something like that, or some other things I've probably forgotten about. Hey, Goose. Maybe I'm just too busy. I mean, it sounds like it. Like, I want to work even more on Skeleseller. And I work for like 6 hours a day, and I'm like, well, that's it. I'm done. I'm out of energy. I'm not going to do anything else. And I keep wondering, is there something wrong with me? Should I be able to put in 8 or 9 or 10 hours? Yes, both of those. Both of those being doing too much and ADHD. Yeah. Okay, so I don't exactly know how to test this. Let's try with the paladin. Let's just pick the paladin like 3 times. We need the paladin to show up at least 3 times. Oh man, stupid 3 choices not giving me the paladin. Seriously, come on. What's going on here? It's been like 5 choices in a row without seeing the paladin. 6 now, 7 now. What? 8? 9? Okay, this is highly unlikely. There we go. So there's a paladin again. Let's stop there. We're at 20% haste. So now if I go into a battle against these, the paladin will attack faster, but it's probably not really going to be that noticeable. They also have 6% dodge, but I haven't seen them dodge. Although 6% is pretty unlikely. Speed this up a little bit. Then I'll give them another buff. They should be able to dodge. Oh, there's a dodge. Okay. So we know that's working. So let's give them some more buffs. Paladin. Okay, so now they're at 30% haste. And 9% dodge. At some point, they're just going to win the fight. It's not this point. All right, let's give them another perk. Oh, there it is. Nice. Okay, so now they're 40% haste, 12% dodge. Still losing. Now the paladin's not showing up at all. Come on, there they are. Okay, so now they're 50%, I think. I need to count because there's no display in the UI for this yet. We're going to need to do that, though. I think they're at 15% dodge as well. They haven't dodged once this match so far. There we go. There's a dodge. Okay, they're getting there. Let's give them one more. This is not me testing anything at this point. I'm just having fun. Another 60% haste and 18% chance to dodge. And they're closer to winning. I think one more and they'll win. There is no paladin choice. There it is. Okay. It's time we restart the battle, and I think they should win. I think this is like 70% chance to dodge now, or sorry, 70% haste. Which, if I just let this run at normal speed, we should see them attack pretty fast, right? Yeah, they do. They died. But I think they have the ability to win. I think it's just luck at this point. They died again. They're gonna win. Oh, we won. Okay, cool. Yeah, so it took like 7 buffs for that. Hey, Smack. Yeah, 16 hours. If only. Thinking of how much game I could make. All right, so haste buff. I think the risk was with the cleric. And I remember this getting absolutely broken somehow. But I'm not sure how. What happens if I do give 100% haste buff to somebody? What happens? I think... I don't know what happens. going to make some of these characters super broken. All right, so let's try with the rogue. Now go send the rogue into battle. They're going to attack super fast. Yeah, but we can make that even faster by giving them quicker strike. So now every 1/10 of a second they're going to attack, which probably means they're going to destroy these bats very quickly. So silly. Yeah, I don't think you should ever be able to get to this level. Although if you do, it's probably pretty fun for you. All right, let's see what some of the other characters are like. Mage. Plop the mage in there. There's another mage ability called Mental Swiftness, where there's a chance on every attack for them to go even faster, but it didn't proc at all that match. I want to see what that looks like. It still hasn't procced. It'll say in green text above here for procs. Still hasn't. There it goes. Okay, so it procced once, but it was at the end of the battle. If it procs at the beginning, it might actually kill one of the bats. It's a 15% chance. I'm surprised it only happened once. Yeah, weird. All right, well, we could just speed up the mage again. Where's the mage? There. Right, now they'll go super fast. It's 200% haste. Just be machine gunning out fireballs. Yeah, this is very cool. Yeah, very cool. To the point where I think a 3% haste buff is something that's too conservative, but let's see how this all pans out. All right, next up I want to try the cleric. Cleric, let's give you one. And then, because the cleric has a haste buff for everyone anyway, which is why this was already coded. But that haste buff is very minor, I think. And yeah, what happens if I put you into a party with a bunch of other people? Let's send you here with the archer, paladin, and spirit caller. So the spirit caller's haste doesn't probably do anything really. What's going on here? Poetro, thanks for the resub. Happy 16 months. We are working through testing out what haste does to all of these characters. I want to find another one for the cleric here. There we go. Okay, so now the cleric has a lot of haste, 200%. So they should be constantly healing and constantly buffing the haste of everybody else. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is probably fine. It's not causing any infinite loop problems. I don't know what caused those originally, though. I could have sworn it was because haste just kept increasing somehow. Maybe it was multiplicative. Maybe that's why. And maybe I made it additive, so now it's not a problem. All right, well, if there's no issue here, then there's no issue. But someone's going to try to break the game. I think there are some games where you can get to a point, like Risk of Rain 2, where you shoot one projectile and so many effects happen that it just lags your computer. And it's almost a satisfying kind of lag knowing that you broke the system. Because at that point, you've just stacked so many items. Normally lagging games would be like, oh, uh-oh, this is poorly coded or something. So anyway, if you did get to a point where you start a battle and it just like lags the whole game because you got 7,000% haste or something, somehow, I don't know how, then fine. I don't know if we need to try to limit that. All right, so haste, let's put it at 10%. Maybe even that's too much. I don't know. All right, well, that one's done. Next up is healing received buff. This one is questionable. Who can even heal in the game? So the paladin, the spirit caller with the fairy spirit, the cleric, I guess technically zombies with vampiric bite, the golem, the mushroom can kind of heal. Can they? I don't even remember how this works. After dying, sets you back to life. Poison for Spore Cloud. No. They don't heal. Golem definitely does. Spirit Caller does. Rogue does not. Witch Doctor can through zombies. Paladin does. Archer doesn't. Cleric does. And these two don't. Okay, yeah, so it's just these. And then technically anyone can if we add Lifesteal. So is a plus healing received buff interesting as a choice? Maybe for some of the tank characters. Actually, maybe not even for just some of the tank characters. Maybe I think we just need to add a lot of mods. So I think whatever we can do, we should do. And I also kind of wonder if we should throw in something like this character revives once every hour or something like that. Not hour, 10 minutes. What do we have? Specific ideas. I'll probably come up with some unique ones here. E.g., 10% chance to revive when killed. That could be pretty interesting. Probably shouldn't be offered to Mushy. All right, what else do we have? So yeah, this is a question. Is this interesting? If you saw a choice like the rogue would get +2 power and +3% dodge, and you saw that the warrior had, let's say, like +3 fortitude and +10% healing received, would you be like, oh, that's cool, I like that? Or would you be like, oh, that's a boring stat? Hey, Alpha Zero. Because you might not even have a healer. Actually, wait a second. I guess the important part is who can heal other people. It's really just the cleric and the spirit caller. Yes, it's probably not super interesting. We can add it with a rarity later, but let's not start with it. Increase healing received. This isn't super interesting without other effects in battle. E.g. lifesteal. I see number go up, I want. All right, well, let's omit this one for now. Although, actually, this was the other two were about healing. Maybe we shouldn't omit this one. Okay, fine. I'm not going to omit this one. I am indecisive. Perk ID. Okay, so healing received. Now we got to go code that. Should be dead simple. So healing received, we'll put as a 10% buff. What does the cleric do when the cleric uses their ability? Increases healing bonus by like 45%. See, I think 10% all the time is pretty decent. Okay. Now we gotta go find the rest of this stuff. So healing received. This is a healing received buff. Let's make sure the values are correct. Yep. And then let's find this thing. Healing received. Okay, done. We coded it. Easy. Next up is heal over time. So the idea with this heal over time would be something like, maybe we just call it regen. So it'd be like +2 regen, +2 life per second while alive. Something like that, where characters are healing themselves all the time. I'm less inclined to want to do this. Because I think lifesteal is more interesting. Yeah, I'm going to cancel this one. Whoops. Other symbol, not a check mark, an X. Lifesteal is more interesting than this. So lifesteal. Oh, and then thorns. We got to do thorns. All right, lifesteal. Perk ID. Lifesteal. Should just know how I want to change this. Yeah. Is it not called lifesteal buff? Lifesteal percent buff. Sure. And then the last bit of this is over in the formatter, or also in the granting of things, lifesteal. 10%'s a lot. What amount of lifesteal is interesting? And are we rounding up? How does that work? Lifesteal percent increase. This is done by stack computations. We get the accumulator here. We get this. And what do we do with this? If it's greater than 0, we just heal it. So then we're applying it based on a floating point number. I don't know how this renders. It might look like it's rounding up. And I don't know what amount of lifesteal is good. So let's set it to 5% by default. And then we just need to format this as a percentage. Lifesteal. Done. Okay, and then the final one here is thorns. We don't have an effect for thorns. Effect ID. So let's go add one really fast. Thorns buff. Okay, so what do we call thorns in this game? It's an effect where the attacker deals damage back, or sorry, the defender deals damage back to attackers when hit. What is this called in like D&D? Thorns. This is not a thing. No, it's not a thing. Was it called in other games? We could call it just return damage. Or we could just write it out completely, like 3 damage dealt to attackers when hit. Something like that. Retaliate? Retaliate might not be bad. Also, hey, Pizza Lawyer. Let me take a look if we have it in that. We have Radiant Retaliation in the game. And we have Counter Attack as a thing. I guess Retaliate to me implies that your character is attacking them, as opposed to just there's something about you that's causing them to take damage. And the reason I think that's important is because Retaliate might make you think that you are using an attack, which might confer other effects. So like Lifesteal you might expect that to trigger on Retaliate sort of thing. What does Diablo 2 say for this? Diablo 2. Actually, let's just look at Thorns as an ability, wasn't it? Enemies take damage when they cause melee damage to party members. And then there was another thing, Diablo 2 item mods. Attacker takes damage. Reflect damage. Reflect makes it sound like you're not taking the damage, though. This is that you're still taking it. Damage. Attacker takes damage of, yeah. What do these really do? Kind of interesting that, what's this? Attacker takes damage applies whenever the user is subject to a successful melee attack. Physical damage return cannot be blocked in any way. +3 damage dealt to attackers when hit. Yeah, I don't know how we write this out. Let's just make the thing first. So we go into counterattack buff, and we save this as thorns buff. It doesn't need to be surfaces thorns in the game. So now this is thorns buff. Persist through death, false. Do we specify it when we say it is false? We don't really. That's fine. So on damage taken, if it's not single target and it's not multi-target, then return. How about if it's not single target, then return? And if it's damage over time, then return. The will counter doesn't matter. So it's just deal damage. Oh, we need to know how much it should deal. Float damage per hit. Get base damage. Power, we're not doing that. Okay, there we go. Add a slash, play a sound. I don't want any of that stuff. I don't need any of this. I don't need that. I don't need this. And I don't need whatever turns yellow here. All right, so this is the whole Thorns buff. It's pretty straightforward, and this shows that the buff system's actually decent to work with here. When you take damage, if it's not single target or if it's damage over time, then just don't do anything. Otherwise, return some damage back to the source. So now we got to go code that. So that's going to be a perk ID. Thorns equals 8. I guess we're calling it thorns for now because we don't have a way of customizing this yet. Probably gonna need to do that. I wrote the localization thing somewhere. Yeah. Thorns should probably be surfaced as whatever I wrote down over here. Where did I write it? Where's that tab? Ah, here it is. Cool. All right, let's close all these before I forget. Oh, I had a lot of tabs open. Okay, so thorns, put here, add new thorns buff. And then we need a value to go into here. Thorns buff doesn't even take any of this stuff. It just takes this and a damage per hit. And it lasts forever? Where's the duration come from? Oh, it has an infinite duration. That's probably not a good idea. It is for this, but you might want to use it again later. Thor damage. Thor's hammer is summoned. We're breaking universes now. Just imagine two like nerdy kids talking about Skeleseller. I got my Thor damage through the roof. Doing so much Thor damage. So damage per hit, I don't know, 3? This is probably something that needs to scale. And by quite a lot, I would guess. And then we have one more thing we have to do. No, actually, that's probably it. So +3 thorns is what it'll show us. Let's try it out. All my fighters are level 8. Nice, nice, nice. You have fun? All right, so I think we just like spewed a bunch of buffs into here so that these lists are going to be pretty long. Yeah, like that formatting needs to change. So +3 thorns, does that even work? So let's try this out. Let's put the golem into battle against a bunch of characters. Excuse me. And they should take 3 damage per hit. Nice. That's thorns damage right there. And then we're healing for 0 because of how lifesteal works. It's not really 0. It's just rounding down to 0. And if it rounds down, maybe we shouldn't have it show up. Lifesteal. Heal damage. Here it is. So heal and then create floating text. Let's only create the floating text if the rounded value is going to actually show up as greater than 0. If modified damage info dot amount. That's not how that works though. It's math.round. If it's greater than 0, then create floating text. That'll just reduce some of the battle spam. I didn't make any of the sprites, no. The credits are all there. Rogue is something else with the perks I had at level 8. Yeah, I like a lot of the class designs. Paladin needs to be worked on. And maybe the cleric a little bit. Yeah. And you haven't seen all the playtest adventurers like the golem. Okay, so now we got to go wait until we get the golem. There it is. Nice. And now we send the golem into battle. And now they should not show... They're still going to lose. But they shouldn't show those zeros over themselves unless they get enough lifesteal. Yeah, nice. Okay, so how do we... Ooh, why is that 1 there? Oh, because when they throw the rock, they're actually healing for enough. Ah, the Dwayne Johnson. Okay, so let's just keep buffing the golem. We got to wait for them to show up. There they are. So now we have 2 upgrades. I want to see what that shows as. So now Thorns damage should be 6. So every time a bat attacks, it takes 6 damage. Yep, nice. Wait a second. Thorns is triggering lifesteal? That's probably not expected. Gonna be one heck of a game. I hope so. I hope by saying this in your chat, I'll actually keep myself to working on it every now and then. I'm curious what it is, but that's definitely not the kind of thing you would want to share, I think. Although you can share this broad genre of game, I guess. Yeah, so is this how you'd expect this to work? Would you expect Thorns to lifesteal? I think the answer is no. But it is kind of a cool synergy. Yeah, it is kind of a cool synergy. How would we stop that? We need to make a different kind of damage type. We have direct damage, damage over time, direct heal, heal over time, redirected damage. Redirected damage, what is this for? This isn't even used for anything. Should be a lifesteal upgrade at most. I wouldn't expect it to do that. Yeah, okay, I can turn this off then. We can just put thorns here, 7. All right, where do we do thorns now? Thorns buff, damage element, damage type, thorns. And then we need lifesteal to not work on thorns. So I guess we go into the battle system and search for lifesteal. So if, how do we get the type? Damage info dot damage type is not equal to thorns. Then we can lifesteal. Cool, that's it. Lifestealing can be good. The cleric has it. They can grant it to the party. A lot of times thorns is passed over because you still have to get hit. It'd be a good incentive to take it. I could see it working either way. So I'm not too concerned one way or the other, really. But since we just need something at the beginning, let's just have the something, I guess. So who do we pick? Who do we pick? Oh, also, how's this gonna work with a witch doctor? I guess with summoners, this stuff all gets kind of weird because you have lifesteal, but you actually have no way of dealing damage. All right, well, let's just find the golem here. So there's one golem. We need 2 golem. Where is the second one? There. Okay, so now we have the same setup we had before. And if I unlock all the adventurers and put them into battle in here with the golem. So now they should be dealing 6 to the enemies. Yeah, but they're not lifestealing unless they do an attack, which makes lifesteal really, really pathetic. Yeah, because we're healing for, we probably threw 5 rocks and healed for like 10 life. Can they place a healing ward that heals all heroes in the area? No, that's something more for the spirit caller. The spirit caller has abilities that let you choose which spirit you want. So there's a dog spirit, which will raise power. There's a cat spirit, which will raise dodge. And then there's the fairy spirit, which will heal. So you could put all, let's say you have 4 points. You could be like, okay, I want one of each spirit. Or you could put them all into, let's say, the fairy spirit and then increase one of your other abilities. So that's how you build that out. Yeah, so we need to buff this quite a lot. Let me find this. Okay, cool. So now they should do 9 damage to attackers. I kind of wonder at what point this becomes overpowered. That Thorns damage is actually pretty decent. But I guess only on tanks. Yeah, balancing this is going to be very difficult. All right, well, let's increase the lifesteal damage for now. So lifesteal is 5%. Let's set it to 10%. This can get very tricky with the more damage-oriented classes. In fact, maybe we should leave it at 5%. In fact, let's try that. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try it on one of the characters that is not a tank. So let's put it on the rogue, which means we need the rogue. And then we need to find the rogue in here. I should really make this generate all 10 options. This is so frustrating. There. Okay, so they have one thing of lifesteal. How does that make them like super overpowered or what? It's not showing because 10% of 3 is 0.3, which rounds down, but their life is going up if you watch really closely. That might get confusing for players. So let's give them one more buff and see how that pans out. Come on, rogue. There we go. Okay, so now they have 20% lifesteal, which will render as +1 every time they get hit, or every time they hit something. It's not. Oh, it only is when they have Cloak of Shadows on. That's probably going to be confusing for people. Thought you'd end up the work soon on the game, but after seeing the demo, now I realize the time Skeleseller needs. Yeah, well, I think if we had decided not to make any other modes, if there was just the main game mode, then we could have been done sooner. But I think people want a replayable mode, and that's where challenge mode comes in. I want to try one more buff on this rogue. There. Okay, now let's speed this up. So now they lifesteal for 30%. Yeah, 30% lifesteal seems like it was the amount it took for this to win the battle now. Interesting. Yeah, they won. Will they win every time? I mean, this doesn't matter at this point. They lost that time, so they have a chance to win. And that chance is based on dodge percent, I guess. They're losing almost every time, actually. Huh. So what, we got exceptionally lucky that first time? There we won. Okay, well, interesting. All right, so that was Thorns, and that's it. We have all the things coded. I'd like to stop my text. Yeah, we'll definitely be working on challenge mode. All right, so we added in all these buffs. Life steal, thorns. Okay, good. Plus % healing received. Do these all look good except for their titles, I guess? Plus 10 health, plus 2 power, plus 3% dodge, 10% haste, 10% healing received, 5% life steal, 3 thorns. Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, it's checking everything other than town. Add remaining effect perks, battle effect, battle perks, effect-based battle perks. Okay, so what do we say here? Thorns doesn't proc lifesteal. Lifesteal doesn't show values unless the rounded number is at least 1. And none of this is balanced. There. Does this span multiple lines? There. Okay. So that's done. All right, so battle perks should go into the new tab. We did all that. Next up, cleanup. Rename challenge mode choice to challenge mode perk choice. Okay, that's at least super easy. So rename this to challenge mode perk choice. And then take the existing challenge mode choice and rename this to perk choice. And then delete this entire file. And then that's it. Everything should work. Yeah, everything should work. Good thing he's a skeleton. Because manseller would sound way more illegal. Maybe human seller? I mean, that'd still sound really bad. Yeah, this presumably is working here. How do we check? We need the warrior. I am so annoyed by my random luck to never find this stupid thing. There. Yep, it worked. Okay, cool. Rename challenge mode choice. It's now challenge mode perk choice so that it's more similar to the derived classes. All right, and again, we just don't want to check in the town. So click the plus, click the minus, click the diff. None of this should be worth looking at. It should have just automatically done everything. There is one thing it wouldn't have automatically done, which is this part. There. Don't save. I'd argue human seller would be worse. Yeah, Skeleman could take off as a sequel. All right. So that should have... Whoa, that did quite a lot. Wait, well, I want all the UID files. I guess let's not do any of this stuff right now. Yeah, let's just check in this. And maybe the challenge mode perk choice, this. Cool. Now this is running the UID tool. I'm not even gonna look through this stuff. We're just gonna check this in. Run UID tool. Okay, what's next? So that's done. Tooltips need to reflect battle perk stats. Yeah. So right now, if you look at this, it just says how much health this adventurer has. How much health this adventurer has. And we want to show if you have power from the battle perks, that what that is. So there's base health, there's guild supplies bonus, base power, guild supplies bonus. This is not fun. Yeah, this is not fun. Baby, you are really stretching these. Him being a sequel and all. All right. Yeah, I don't want to do this one. This is going to be boring and annoying, but we kind of have to do it. So if you're in this situation, it says how much health this adventurer has. Like the easiest way, so we have three sources. We have your base health, or I guess just base stat. We have the guild supplies bonus, and now we have the challenge mode bonus. So the ideal scenario is don't show anything extra if you don't have any bonuses. And then if you do have bonuses, show only the ones that are greater than 0. So basically, here's what this thing could look like. So scenario 1 is how much health this adventurer has. No bonuses whatsoever. Scenario 2 is just the guild bonus. So how much health this adventurer has. Base 5, guild bonus 5. Then scenario 3 is just the challenge mode bonus, just the perk bonus. Base 5, perk bonus 5. And then scenario 4 is both bonuses. I think that's the ideal situation. You're ready to be in about 5 minutes. What are you going to go do? Rock climb? Loud brick check. Thanks for the resub, Chef Alton. Subscribe for 32 months. My goodness. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, this is bricklaying. I think part of it though too is figuring out what should this render as. Like, should we have 4 different ways of rendering this? You may not even have the guild, and you may not even be in challenge mode. Let's unlock the... Oh, we can't even do that. Yeah, we can't even do that. I guess we could do it in the main game. We can get this, and then get some treasure chests, and do this. Get our little mushroom buddy, put in the guild, and now this thing will show, yeah, guild supplies bonus 10. Maybe what we say is base health 68, bonuses 0. I don't like that though. I want it to be as simple as possible, just how much health this adventurer has. Yeah, I think that's very important. I want to keep scenario 1 intact for simplicity. After that, we just list whatever bonuses are needed. Yeah, that's what we should do. Are we doing after my exercise? Stretch, I don't play by your rules. You don't. You certainly don't. All right, and then the fortitude tooltip, I guess we have that there. Yeah, so string fortitude text. So how much fortitude this adventurer has. Each point reduces damage taken by stat computations, P1, current reduction, bsc.fortitude. That'll work. That'll do it. And then we need to set this here, fortitude text. And we need to build these up correctly. So if you have a bonus, then we want to show that bonus. So if ac.life from guild supply is greater than 0, or you have the health perk, how do we get that? Oh, this will be fun. Oh, this will be fun. All right, let's figure this out. Town.adventurer battle perks.get perk value for adventurer. And how does this work? We take in a perk ID, battle perk ID dot health, and then we take in an adventurer class, which we don't have. Well, we have it there, I guess. AC.adventurer class. Okay, so that is how much health you have extra. So now if this is the case, or oops, this is health bonus. This is perk health perk bonus, I guess we say. So if either of these is greater than 0, then we want to change this thing. And we want to do this based on which one of these you actually have. That is a nice statement, Remy. I like that statement. So we only show these if they come into play. I don't want to do this. I mean, we could do something like this. This is greater than 0, question mark. This string. Otherwise, nothing. String.empty. So what's the problem there? This needs to be in parentheses. A conditional expression cannot be used directly in string interpolation because the colon ends the interpolation. Parenthesize the conditional expression. I did that. What am I missing here? It's some like syntax bizarro world that I'm in. All right, let's just do this a different way. Let's just put this as guild health bonus. String guild health bonus. Is that what we had? Yeah, nice. Okay. All right, so that'll work. And then we want the perk bonus. Health or like guild bonus string. Perk bonus string. It's going to be the same thing. Yeah. All right, now, does that actually work? Who knows? Hey, Sick. Bring back the chaotic energy. You got an angel on one shoulder, Kevin on the other one. So this works, it's just a mess. But now we got to do that same mess over here. So string guild bonus string. That's the guild supplies. This isn't even what I want to do. Yeah. And then perk bonus string. Is this correct? This doesn't go here. Doesn't go here at all. This is power perk bonus. And then we can do the same thing that we did up here. Okay. And then we just plug these in. Great. Now one more. We need the fortitude bonus. Fortitude, perk bonus, fortitude. Okay, so if There is no fortitude from supplies. We just need this bit. So I guess we do this same string. Base fortitude. Perk bonus string. This is only if this is greater than 0. So then we don't need this here anymore. We can just write it out explicitly. That's nice. Yeah. So the fortitude one's easy. Now we got to try it. Hey, Tyler. Okay. Take care, Amy. I hope you have a good day. Good rest of your day. Climbing goes well. There are no injuries. You feel re-energized to make puns the next day. All right. I kind of made this into a mess. The only way that we can even test this, I guess we have to test all the scenarios that we have here. So let's start with scenario 1. Scenario 1 should be dead simple to test because it's the no bonuses scenario. So every adventure is in this by default, and it should look exactly like how it looked. So let's go try that out. Yep, yep, yep. Cool. All right, that was easy. All right, next up, we give them some stats. I already messed this up because you're supposed to get a fortitude perk, but I deleted it. So we need to put that back in. There we go. So this will give you health, power, and fortitude. And it'll now break down what your bonuses are. So let's do it for the warrior because we already know what the warrior should be. There. Okay, so now we go to adventurers and we click warrior and it says, oh, there's another bullet point in the middle. Yuck. Yuck. Okay, so that doesn't work. And the power one didn't work either. Why didn't the power one work? That one looks fine. Okay, so fortitude looks fine. Power doesn't even work. Why is power broken? Power perk bonus. Get perk value for adventure. Power. And then, oh, I never checked this. Okay, well, that's a nice bug to figure out. And then we should change these strings so that they have a built-in new line for them, I guess. So /n, /n, and then just put them all like that. Same thing here. Okay, how's that look? This is going to be a mess. We are kind of purposely cutting corners here, though. Okay, so go back to the warrior. Warrior should show all the basic stuff. Good. Then we give them a perk. And now that looks good. Base health 195, perk bonus 10. Base power 10, perk bonus 2. Base fortitude 6, perk bonus 1. Okay, so that was test number 1. Test number 2 is to try that with the treasure room. So our base values are 180, 12, and 2. 180, 12, 2. 180, 12, 2. Okay. 180, 12, and that doesn't work. Oh, there's no fortitude buff for them. So that actually does work. All right. That's looking good. And now we need to test both of those things at once. So we need the treasure room. Hey, zeros and ones. Create treasure room. And so we need a perk and we need the guild bonus. So who do we have? The archer? Can we find the archer here? Nope. Can we find him again? Yep. Okay, so that'll work for the first bit of this. Why does guild supplies show? I see. Perk bonus. Yeah, we have all that stuff. Good. And now we need the supply. So we get one of their quivers. We put this inside there, and now we should see both bonuses. Base health 150, guild supplies bonus 10, perk bonus 10 for a total of 170. Perfect. Base power 14, guild supplies bonus 1, perk bonus 2 for a total of 17. Nice. All right, yeah. Now you will be able to tell what bonuses you have. This technically doesn't need to be checked in, but I'm going to do it anyway. Oh, it's just such ugly code. I don't care to fix this up right now, though. It needs to be localized, too. Show perk bonuses for raw stats. We still don't show the complex stats like dodge or lifesteal yet. Yeah, I don't know where we're going to do that, but at least that's working. All right, buy button should now show sludge instead of gold and be updated when sludge changes. So there's a buy perk thing somewhere. Choose perks panel tab. Here it is. And nothing updates this. Update from perk choices. This can't be correct. Does anything inherit from this? There must be something that inherits from this. Please tell me. Yeah, good. Okay, good. So we want to update the text here. The text is going to just change the symbol from money symbol to sludge, I guess. We just have this format as its own string, like set text based on cost. Yeah, let's do that. Protected virtual void set by button text. Cost there, done. And now each thing is going to override this in its own way. Whoop. Okay. So the battle one is going to do that. Protected override void set. Looks good. We can't actually do this. This needs to be get by button text that returns a string so that then we can set this here because it's not even made protected. We could just make it be protected, but there. Okay, so return just string.empty or throw an exception, I guess. Throw new. Yeah, there. So then this changes to get, and this just returns that. And that's a capital G. And then the same, though, yep, that too. And then the same thing happens in the town perk tab. So over here, why is F12 not working? There we go. And then this is going to be money symbol, game constants dot currency symbol, money symbol. All right. So game constant shouldn't be needed from here anymore. I guess it existed in the namespace that we still use. Is that it? Is that all we need to do? No, that's not all we need to do. We need to... Actually, we could make this even simpler. I'll leave it as is. We need to now call update on this thing correctly. And I'm not sure where that happens. It's not here. Where does it happen? Town menu, money changed. Yeah, here it is. Update by perk button. What should listen for this? But this shouldn't be here at all. Yeah, this shouldn't be here at all. Choose perks button is visible. I'm a little bit confused because it's this that calls this update from perk choices. Does this get hit every single time we change our money? It can't be. It isn't. What? What causes this to work then? Or is it not working? I think I need to rearrange some of these events. Because what I want is very simple. What I want is that in this dialogue, this says buy perk. Yeah, this is not working. It needs to show the cost of the perk afterward. And every time your money changes, yeah, it should show this. So it's not working right now. Actually, every time your money changes. No, it would change whether it's disabled or enabled. And this thing knows, this has the town and it has the buy button, and it can figure out the cost based on the tracker. So there's no reason for probably any of that to be in the town menu. Except for this is the town menu version of this. So it's this that's a problem. Changing the cost. This needs to be done when, well, the cost needs to be set. The cost is constant. It's only if the cost changes that we need to update the button text. Well, we could just update it regardless. It's when money changes that we potentially need to enable or disable this. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think I understand what we have to do. So we call update from perk choices. And then whenever your money changes, we update the enabled or disabled state of this thing. Yeah. Public. It needs to be void. It just needs to be protected. Protected void update by button enabled state. No, we can't. This has to be virtual. This can't figure out what you're supposed to do. Although I guess I could tell you the currency that you have. But wait, the child class could say whether this thing should be enabled or disabled. Is enabled. Yeah, sure. There. All right, so that's all we're doing. And now we need the derived classes to set this up correctly, which means they need to override a init. All right, so this needs to be virtual. So then this is overridden. This calls in the base init. And then we listen here for town.money changed. And money change passes in the amount of money. Update buy button state. There, perfect. Yeah, I'll twitch that. You're looking for a lunch command? If you want all the commands, by the way, they're all there. You can search through them here. I don't know what you're looking for exactly. And if you type lunch, I'm not sure what shows up. Yeah, not much. What was I going to do, though? Change the launch command. Adam is planning to launch Skeleseller in 2025. Watch him miss the target and not update this command. Cool. So yeah, this looks good. Let's paste this over here now too. This is going to be sludge changed. Sludge changed presumably passes in. Yeah, it passes in the sludge. And we say that this is greater than or equal to that. All right, I think we're good. Let's try it out. TBD, but hopefully fall of 2025. Is that still on track? I don't know. The short story is that there were 3 main things we wanted to do before we could even focus on launching. One is implement the treasure chest system. This is mostly done. Then the others are add content, so adventurers, locations, bosses, items, and the other is implement challenge mode. So we did some of this and designed some of the rest. This needs to be balanced, and you are here. So yeah, we're implementing challenge mode. The whole point of challenge mode is so that when people buy the game, they play through it and they're not like, okay, now what? The now what is go play challenge mode. And the now what after playing challenge mode is go play more challenge mode. So it's going to roguelikeify the game. And you can kind of see this already over here. Instead of choosing a town perk by just picking from these options, which currently still exists, but they won't eventually, you will choose it by just clicking buy perk, and it'll present you with 3 choices, and then you'll pick one. And now the next time you're offered them, maybe you won't have the money for it. Maybe you will. This stuff looks like it's working pretty well. Yeah, nice. All right, so we just did both of these tasks, and they're both working. So we want to check in this. Looks good. This looks good. And this, I wonder if we just make that button protected. Probably makes more sense. Yeah, I don't think this makes a lot of sense. I also don't think it's worth worrying about, though. It's not important. Okay, so fix by perk buttons. They're now update. Ooh, wait, not the disabled state. The disabled state is not updated. Town perk choice tracker. Town perk choice generator. Where's the cost of this thing? Cost of next perk. Here it is. Perk choice tracker. Okay, what if we set this to like 50,000? Sure, whatever. Any number that's large enough that'll make this thing be disabled by default. I don't think it's gonna actually be disabled. Oh wait, it will be because I think we call money changed right off the bat. Yeah, we do. But I don't know if that'll work for sludge. Oh wait, we could just test it for sludge. Yeah, nice. Works. Okay, cool. All right. Glad to see that. All right, so they're now updated from the get-go. The battle perk version shows sludge in the text, and they get enabled / disabled correctly. All right, added perk choice lets a derived class act on a perk, but perhaps it's better to add the handler in the parent class and just call a virtual function for when the perk was chosen. All right, let's go take a look at that. Yeah, I don't think this is great. Just call it virtual function, yeah. So I think we should have a chosen perk. And I think that can be protected. Virtual void perk was chosen. All right, so added is not needed here. We need to... Let's just close all of these. Yeah, we need this. This is pretty simple to do. There, done. Okay, so now this isn't needed. And it can just be renamed to perk was chosen. We need to know which perk choice it was. Perk choice. Now what's the problem there? Oh, it's got to be protected. And then the same thing happened in the battle version of this. Now, why is this there? Perk choice tracker.chose perk. That's in both of these functions. This can be deleted now and moved over to here. All right, so both of those got a lot simpler. What else do we do here? Only specific stuff for each derived class. Yeah. All right, that was a pretty simple change. And I haven't tested it yet, but yeah, this function got simpler. So now we cut out 5 lines from that file. This file actually added 7 lines, but then we cut out 5 from this. So it's a net three lines deleted. And I think it's a clearer contract now too. But let's go test it out. All we need to do is make sure that these things still function. And for each kind of perk, it should be pretty obvious. So for town perks, item stacking is the most obvious. So now we just generate some items, and if they stack, then they're fine. Yep, they're stacking. And then for battle perks, we just generate a battle perk. Sure, mage, doesn't matter. And then find the mage. Yep. Cool. Refactor perk choice dot chosen handling. Yeah. Okay, so that's done. So the cleanup here is done. All right, next up, figure out skill points and skills and offer them as perks. All right, so this requires us to do some design again here. And I had a design and I don't remember if it was good. I don't even remember what it was. So let's look at that. Oh, God. Okay, this is what we had written down. Give me a sec. This is what I had written down. All right, so what was this? All skills are unlocked by default but have 0 points in them. When you would have gotten a skill point, it gets automatically allocated to a random skill. Skill points can't be removed at will anymore. Any skill points granted through other means can be assigned however you want. You can increase the max level of any skills at skill, obviously. Oh boy. Work background footage. Nice. That's pretty much what I'm here for these days. I'm getting stuff done and other people are watching and getting stuff done. All right. There are a couple of complexities here. One is the design complexity, and then 2 is coding that. So pretty much the whole thing's complex. I want to think of what's the most fun. So we have all these skills coded in the game. And in the main game, you unlock them linearly. And then you can put points wherever you want, and you can reset them at will. So you could be like, oh, I have 2 points here. Let's remove 1 and put it over here. And then put the other one here. Oh, actually remove this one and put it over here. So that's all possible right now. But in challenge mode, I don't want you to just pick the, one best skill every time. So I think we pretty much can't allow you to pick skills. Hey, Nocta, and hey, Campbell Soup. Really help me stay inspired on my game, watching you progress and remain on track and excited about it. I like watching you get stuff done while I don't get stuff done. No, I think that's good. I think that's valuable. It's not what I think a lot of people come to Twitch for, which is really neither here nor there. The people who are here for some reason. So analyzing this now, I still think we can't give out. We can't always let you choose the skills. All different. You get random adventurers. The classes were all designed with synergies in mind to begin with. Yeah. Or else you'll pick the best strategies. Should you even be able to pick any skills? Do we even let you pick any skills? I don't know. So what if battle perks just gave you... What if battle perks showed which skill it would give you? So for example, it said something like Rogue plus 15 health, plus 2 power, plus 1 quicker strike. And Warrior had something kind of similar here. Maybe it had like plus 20 health, plus 3 fortitude, plus 10% lifesteal. And then the mage said plus 10 health, plus 1 to skill, inspiration, plus 1 to skill, burn. I kind of like the idea. Did I draw the art? It's beautiful. No, I have not drawn any of it. I did a lot of the game design, a lot of the coding, and the music. Yeah, creator, development, music. That's what I worked on. Okay, I like this idea. It also means that it's possible for you to not get skills. But yeah, I like the idea. Do you have some multi-part skills where collecting all parts eventually grants you the skill? Aligns with lower IMO. Thoughts? Hey, Panasaur. So multi-part skills, you can kind of already look at the skills as being multi-part skills, even in their sort of foundational form that they're in right now. So if I click this, if you think about the parts as being the number of skill points required to max it out, then they're all already kind of multi-part. I don't want you to have to... I know what you're saying. Like, what if you didn't even get this skill until you got like 4 shards of the skill? But the problem with that is that imagine you saw like Rogue plus 1/4 of a skill point. You'd be like, why would I pick that? And if you think about even the old Zelda games, like A Link to the Past, heart pieces, it's kind of a shame when you find a cool. Just find an image that shows this. It's kind of a shame when you find a chest somewhere and you get, yeah, like this. Like you find a heart piece and it just says, "Oh, cool, you filled up 3/4 of your heart now. This does literally nothing for you." It would be nice if they just gave you 3/4 of a heart right on the UI, and then you could take another 3/4 of a heart worth of damage, because some enemies do fractional damage. But instead, they're like, collect your first one, it does nothing. Collect your second one, it does nothing. Collect your third one, it does nothing, and then finally, you get them all at once. So yeah, I don't think the fractional things would be a good idea there. I do like this idea that's here though, that I just talked about, which is that these just show up as battle perks. We just need to make sure they don't pollute the battle perks. But what if that's all we did? Skill points can't be removed at will anymore. Oh, we could have another meta perk here now that I think about it. Let's write this down for meta perks. Specific ideas, meta perks. You get one more perk option each time. You get more battle perks can be rolled at once. Or maybe with higher values. Plus 2 skill points at a time. All right, so let's see. All skills are unlocked by default but have 0 points in them. By the way, this is sort of how it happens now. They're just not visible. When you would have gotten a skill point, it gets automatically allocated to a random skill. So this part would be changing a little bit. Skill points can't be removed. That part's important still. Any skill points granted through any other means, there wouldn't be any other means. And we can increase the max levels. Yeah, I think I like this new design. I think this does some really cool things for the game too, because now you're building up an adventurer from scratch essentially. So like you might get a cleric that is like haste and lifesteal focused. Although then they wouldn't really be a healer, would they? Oh man, I didn't think about that. Maybe that is kind of a problem. Maybe you don't need a healer though. Maybe that's where a reroll option would be kind of nice. For battle perks, maybe this re-rolls the mods for that specific adventurer rather than picking a whole new adventurer. Hey, Oakley, things don't need to be stuck in a category. Yeah, as long as you have other ways of accomplishing things. So like, let's say this game was very rigid about you need a DPS, you need a tank, and you need a tank and you need a healer. It's not, but let's say it was. And then you get your tank class and you're like, oh, finally, I got this thing. And it's like, oh, damage ability 1, damage ability 2, damage ability 3. And you're like, oh, they're not even really acting as a tank. Then you get your DPS class and you have like dodge ability 1, you know, like power debuff or something. I don't know. You'll find a way to make it work as a player. You have to, because otherwise the game won't work. It won't be fun. Yeah, so let's change these things around a little bit. Very happy with the idea of presenting specific skills as perks. This is cool as a design. It is not going to be quick to code. So first, let's go write everything down. Where are adventurous skills? Here they are. So all skills are unlocked by default but have 0 points. How about just all skills are visible by default rather than looking locked until a certain level? When you would have gotten a skill point, it gets... Okay, so now skill choices are presented as battle buffs. E.g., you may be offered something like +1 to quicker strike. Or +1 to inspiration. Implementation. Well, I'll write this down in the to-do thing, I guess, but where's figure out skills? Okay, so make sure 2 battle perks don't offer the same skill. Make sure no skill can be offered beyond its maximum level. Make sure you can't respec. Make sure skills are visible by default. Or right click a skill. -1 second to quicker strike. Quicker strike is already a cooldown modifying ability. So like quick strike is 0.4 seconds. Quicker strike is set it to 0.3. So anything that modifies a skill, like let's say you wanted to give this, I don't know, like a damage over time component, like poison dagger. We just make a new skill for that. And I think that'd be fine. You'd be able to have more than 7 skills here. But I don't plan on doing that for release. I think that's too much. Yeah, I think it's too much work for not enough benefit. We need to not show these buttons as well. Shouldn't even have the plus button. Have you considered a skill tree? I did consider it. I think a lot of things in this game were shifted for the sake of simplicity. So a skill tree requires you to think through what are the prerequisites, maybe do some planning. It makes the UI a little bit more complex to understand. The way this is set up is just, you just put points in whatever it is you have access to. And at will, you can change them around too. You know what I have not seen people do though, which is kind of interesting. If you level up, let's say you get to level 6. So people will put in their skill points. Maybe they have this. I've never seen someone do this where they're like, oh man, this ability is really good. Let me take points out of 2 other ones and put them into here. I don't know if people assume that they can't do that or they just don't care enough. You did it? Okay, yeah. I've seen people take points out to put 1 point in a new skill, but never 2 points into a new skill. All right, so skills are visible by default. Skill choices are presented as battle buffs, battle perks. When you would have gotten a skill point, so that's not even a thing anymore. Skill points can't be removed, can't be added / removed at will anymore, i.e. no respecializing. Any skill points granted through other means, they won't be granted through other means. Increase the max level. Get random adventures with random skills, yet still influence the decisions through the roguelike choices. So none of the classes should be outright bad. I am not your average Skeleseller. This reminds me of those old World of Warcraft advertisements that ran on TV where they got like Mr. T to say, I'm a night elf mohawk or something. Like, I'm not your average Skeleseller player. I put 2 points into the final skill. Okay, I am quite happy with this design. Will it pan out? Who knows? In fact, depending on how many perk choices you're given. So I always have health showing up. That's the plan because health is not a fun stat. So like you should get it, but you should never have to choose that you want to get it. So like you'll always get health. Great. Okay. Same thing should probably go with skills. Skills are fun and they're impactful, but they could potentially be so impactful that if you don't get them, you're like, oh, what a waste of a bucket here. But that's stuff that playtesting will figure out. All right, so how do we do this? Make sure to okay. So let's figure out the very basic part of this, which is allow for a skill to be granted through a battle perk. The system doesn't currently even allow for this, since we just have perk ID to float. We may need a custom perk class with its own data. Then it can't be in a dictionary unless this custom perk encapsulates all potential skill additions. Yeah, this is not something I'm going to do right now. But let's do this one. Make sure you can't respec. And let's do this one. So skills being visible by default. Where does that happen? I don't even know. Maybe when an adventurer levels up. Level up. Unlock ability. Yeah, right there. So all we need to do is unlock every ability. What does unlock ability do? Node entity adventure data. Oh, it just unlocks a random ability? No, that's not right. Locked abilities, get this, get the first one. Yeah, so unlock next abilities is what this should be called. And then we should just make something like public static void unlock all abilities. Node entity. All right, how do we do this? I'm just going to press tab and read this. Get the abilities component. Go through each thing in here. And then set the number of available skill points. I don't know why I did that. The rest of this looks fine. Let's try this now. We go into town. And we... Wait a sec. Is there something else wrong about this? We call unlock ability on this. What does this do? Modify ability level by 0. Okay, sure. So add adventurer. If... How do we know we're in challenge mode? Gameplay mode equals challenge. Oops. Then unlock all the abilities. Stack computations dot unlock all abilities for the adventurer. All right, that should do it. That was easy. Let's try it out. So now if I go into the skill tree, I should be able to read all of the abilities. Nope. Didn't work for any of them. Did this even happen? There are any number of things that could have gone wrong here. And it might just be that I need to select the adventure. Okay, so this did happen. So ignoring that now, what happens if I click this again? Okay, yeah, I just needed to click them again. So I'm guessing that's what happens here. Hired adventurer causes this thing to get reselected. Yes, probably. Yes. So we need to do this before we've done this thing up here. All right, that should work. Saying that was easy before running the code is generally a bad idea. VS Code always has a mic open and it's like, you will not pass. This is gonna break in ways you couldn't have imagined. But I think we got it working this time. Plus, it was easy. I hate codecs. Do you have to unlock challenges, or are they available once you beat the game? I think it'd be cool to unlock challenges progressively. So right now, the plan is that there's just one challenge mode. And have you played Slay the Spire? There's the Ascension system in there. And the way that it works is, let's say level 1 is going to be something like no changes whatsoever. So it's just like get used to the mode. Then level 2 might be something like bosses have plus 10% HP. And level 3 might be something like you earn less money. I'm making things up here. Level 3 also has all the challenges from all the levels before it. So it's not only you earn less money, but also bosses have more HP. So that by the time you get to level 20, it's 19, well, I guess in this case, 18 challenges and some malicious new one. The 7th commercial, the original WoW. So that's the idea. Now, as far as unlocking this, the plan is, yeah, beat the main mode to unlock challenge mode. But then what I kind of want to do is have like a hidden or advanced setting somewhere saying skip the main mode. And it'll be like, are you really sure? If you haven't played the game, it's not going to be fun for you, blah, blah, blah. But that way, if you're playing on someone else's computer and you're like, oh man, just skip all this. I'll teach you the game. Let's go right to challenge mode. I don't want people to have to play for like 5 hours to get this. I always find that annoying in other games. And the worst offenders of any of them are when you're playing a multiplayer game that doesn't have multiplayer by default. You have to like play for an hour or two, and then finally you get the ability to play with another player. Secret of Mana did this. You only had one character at the beginning because it's a story-driven game. So it's like, how would you play with multiple players? There's no other character to control. And it wasn't until you got the second character, which I don't remember how far in that was, but it definitely wasn't at minute 0. It was at like 45 minutes or an hour and a half or something. So yeah, I want to cut through that too, but that's, if this doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. And you run the risk of someone being like, oh, I really want to play the roguelike version. I'll just figure it out. And they get dropped into this and they're like, there's a timer. I don't know what in the world is going on. How do I battle? What does this button do? How do I set up my party? So it's like, we definitely need to steer them thoroughly away from doing this. Maybe we should even have some like cheeky text there. Like, you better not write a bad review if you don't understand how the game works and you skipped all these advisories. Does any progress carry over from previous runs? I don't think so. But again, this is so kind of early in figuring all this stuff out that I'm not certain yet what I want to do. The way it works in Slay the Spire is that nothing important carries over. It basically just marks a flag for how far you got. And then on a new run, if you got far, it'll offer a stronger starting perk. And if you didn't get anywhere, it'll offer you a pretty weak one. So in Slay the Spire, if you got nowhere, it'll say like, it'll give you like weak perk 1 and weak perk 2. And if you got pretty far, it'll say like, plus 100 gold or get a rare relic. And that way you got a little bit of a bonus for getting farther in your last run. And also, I think the main thing they were trying to do here is prevent you from just like restarting, seeing what your perks are, restarting, getting better perks, restarting, getting better perks. So you can't do that anymore. So a complete new player can just play challenge mode. I want them to be able to, but I don't want them to do that unless they played the main mode. But yeah, we'll see how that pans out. Okay, so I think we've coded this. Yeah, so any other adventurers I unlock should also just have all their abilities, but not in the main mode anymore. So if these are all locked now. And if I do level up, I just get the ability I should be able to see. Maybe after a tutorial they can do it. I kind of want it to be like a hidden thing in here. Not exactly hidden, but I guess like imagine we had an advanced tab in here. And the advanced tab would have maybe like this in there. And maybe just the option to skip playing the main mode. Then again, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. All right, so make sure skills are visible by default. We've done this. Yeah. Why is this not working? There we go. Unlock all abilities in challenge mode. Yeah, that's it. Okay, next. Make sure you can't respec or right-click a skill. How are we going to do this? Reset skills. This is... Where is this? Reset skill points button. Where do we set the visibility? Set skill table unlocked. Is unlocked and the town's gameplay mode is not equal to challenge mode. So what do we have in the game right now? I did not rebuild intentionally. If I go into challenge mode and I look at an adventurer, if I force a level up, it shows reset skills. But now if I rebuild, it should not show reset skills because you should not be able to see this because you shouldn't be able to manually add points. So now I level up. Yeah, so we have no nope, that's correct. Yeah. We have no reset, but you can still click the buttons. So we got to stop that. Relate to others. Can there be some highlight border indication that a skill relates to another skill? Hovering first skill on Paladin highlights a passive holy light skill. I think it'd be nice to do that. I don't think it's very easy to do. And I'm not sure it's worth the work. But yeah, if I had an infinite amount of time, I would definitely do that. So I'll write this down. We would need to manifest a set of related skills. And then the on hover handler would have to know how to highlight them. It's doable. It's just, it's going to take time. Because right now, the reason this knows about Quick Strike is just because we have a hard-coded, like, this just pulls in the Quick Strike name. So we need to know the related skill here is Quick Strike. We have to potentially manifest multiple. So as an example for that is Mage has this. When casting Fireball, Lightning Zaps, Ice Blast, or Stalagmite. Also for the Mage, we refer to locked skills from Mental Swiftness, which we may not want to highlight until you've unlocked. Which are the passive and emphasize. Yeah, I get what you're suggesting, and I think it's a good idea. I just don't know if it's gonna make it into the launch version of the game. If let's say there were like 5 developers working on the game right now, and they were just you know, they could just tackle any task, I'd be like, yeah, sure, go code this right now. It'll take you an hour or two. But I don't think we can spare the time. But I appreciate all the other feedback you shared. I wrote a bunch of notes. Like I said, if you want me to respond more thoroughly to any of these things, I'm happy to do so. I can't spend the time responding on Steam and Discord like I used to, because I think we have so much to do in the way of challenge mode. Okay, so we hid the reset skills button. That part's good. But now we need to hide the minus and plus buttons and make them not work as well. So where is that? Skill button? Hide buttons. Wow, look at that. Is this coded? Oh my god, it is. Wow. Okay, so we just need to call into this. I'm impressed. So where do we get all the skill buttons? We don't ever use hide buttons, do we? Go back for a second. No, we don't ever use it. All right, so back to the adventurer panel tab. On hover, where do we make these? Ah, right here. No, wait, that's not where we make it. What, the skill table sets it up? Where do we make these? It's apparently not in here at all. Skill table? I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Here it is. Init. All right, what do? You make a bunch of skill buttons. So do you have the town? Nope. All right, well, let's just try something out. Let's just say skill button dot hide buttons equals true. Does that work? How easy is it to remember what the code does? So in general, I think your code should be self-documenting. Like if you look at a function like this, update available skill points label, you should just be able to read it and tell what it's doing. And if a function is a little bit too long for that, then maybe a comment would be good, but honestly, just splitting up the function is probably better. So yeah, if you look at anything in stat computations, for example, like unlock all abilities, do we need a comment for that? Like, isn't unlock abilities already enough? And then reading the code should make it enough. So yeah, that's my general philosophy on that. Okay, so we should have made this impossible. We get a skill point, but we can't click anything. Oh, but you can't see how many... Oh, drat. You can't see how many points you have in the skill. Unless you hover over it. All right, so how do we fix that? Main skill button visible. Let's just never change that. Does that work? Hey, Yokosen. Good naming, you know, magic numbers, yeah. And short functions. It's like if you see a function adding some numbers together and then dividing by the length of an array, you're like, oh, that's getting the average of something. Now, granted, the function name should probably be like get average of something in that point. All right, yeah, here's what we see. So can we click this? Yes. Oh, man, it's not supposed to happen. What is this thing? It's a button supporting clicks. We don't ever make it stop. And there's no way to, yeah, there's no way to stop this. We'd have to disable it, which might make it look weird. If hide buttons main skill button dot disabled equals true. I guess let's just do it this way. We don't hide the main button because it shows the current level. And then we need to pass in whether or not this thing should be hidden. All right, yeah, but now it looks disabled. I don't like that. Yuck. Yeah, you can't click these at least. That's nice. I want them to show in black, though. So we need the button to know that it should be disabled, but not look disabled. No, maybe we just need to modify the disabled style of it. Yeah, that's probably a better thing. Granted, I don't know how we're going to do that. Maybe we do it directly in skill button. Main skill button right here. Can we like theme override the disabled color? We can. All right, let's just set it to like bright red or something. Or bright anything, bright yellow. I just wanted to be very obvious that we've done this correctly. So if that works, if it looks bright yellow now, yeah, nice. Okay, great. So we just need to set it to black. Easy. Done. This is Godot, yeah. All right, and then the next thing we need to do is set this conditionally. This thing, the skill table doesn't know about this though. So let's just put in a bool hide buttons and pass the responsibility up to the caller. So now there's only one caller of that right here. Yeah, and this presumably has the town. Yeah, it does. All right, not too bad, not too bad. So we put in hide buttons, and bool hide buttons is going to be equal to the town's gameplay mode is challenge mode. Easy. All right, that should fix everything. So now you won't be able to see the buttons when you're in challenge mode. They'll be black even though they're disabled so that it looks like, oh, that's too dark. Okay, black wasn't the right color. I'm not sure what the right color is, but I guess we can go into the main mode and find out. New game. Yeah, it's that reddish color. How do we set that? Where do we even get that from? The theme must have it somewhere. So we need to look through our theme. Base theme. Tooltip panel. Dialogue theme? Should be base theme. But all I see is tooltip panel here. Ah, there it is, font color. All right, so just copy this and put it over here. All right, I think that'll work. Well, I know it'll work. It'll be a color, but like what I mean is, will it look like the other color? I have no idea. I just literally cannot tell. So let's just take a picture of the other one so that I can compare them. All right, so this is what we want. What we want. I'm great at writing. And then what do we have? It is red, yeah. Are they the same color? I don't have any idea. Are they the same? No, this one's slightly darker. How do you do this? There's some way to pop up the info thing. I don't remember how you do that. GIMP color picker. Shift click to see the selected alpha component. Is there a way to... Oh, there it is. Nice. Okay, so RGB 63,323. And what is this one? Different. All right, well, can't we just copy the hex then? Oh, man. Is it not just a button? Why was that color not correct? Disabled style. Focus, hover, normal. I don't know why that's not correct. Maybe because it's not a button. Ah, I think it's this. Yeah, I think it's this. Okay, does that change automatically in here? I don't know, let's just rerun it. I don't want to run a risk of getting the wrong color and wasting a bunch of time. Okay, so now is it the same? Yeah, they look the same now. 93, 51, 65. Yep, same. Okay, good. Cool. So how does it look in the context of the game? Now we don't see the plus buttons, which looks a little bit strange, I guess. But yeah, otherwise, I think this is looking fine. You can't add any skill points, which technically means that adding skill points or showing skill points it has no purpose. I think that's polished for later, though. I don't think we need to do this in phase 1. Although if you can ever level up, we need to make sure it doesn't grant any skill points. Make sure it doesn't confer stats or skill points. Also, hide the level up button. Yeah. And then what did I say? Hide skill points altogether. Hide skill points in the adventurer UI altogether. There's no way to earn or spend them. All right, let's go check in what we've done. Looks good. Looks good. Don't want that. Looks good. It looks good, yeah. So we're just not going to check that in. Okay. So hide skill-related buttons. You can no longer... In challenge mode, you can't reset your skills or add/remove points from anything. This technically means that you can't get any skills whatsoever. But they'll eventually be offered as battle perks. Okay, so back to the to-do list. We got done with this. Whoops, I don't know where that just went. No skills sounds like me. This reminds me of a Lasagna Cat episode. The Final Fantasy one. This is a blast from the past. Yeah, if you haven't seen this yet, it's a short enough video. No need to watch it now. All right, so this one's difficult. I'm going to do this probably off stream and hopefully today. Extended stats showing the adventurers tab. Yeah, I'd love to do that too. Make sure 2 battle perks don't offer the same skill. Bucky, thanks for the resub. Happy quarter of a year. Cheers. Show extended stats. Vary the stats that we generate. Don't show the level up button anymore. This part's already done. Yeah. I want to finish this stuff today. But like I said, I don't think I want to finish it on stream. And I think this is a deceptively difficult problem to solve. So I'll explain this a little bit for anyone who's been following along enough to be able to even understand this. Right now, every single one of the perks that we offer is just a type of perk and then a single number. So how much health did you get? How much dodge percent did you get? How much healing did you get? What we want to do is we want to add in some like grant skill. The problem is grant skill on its own needs some other parameter, which is which skill is it granting? And then by having grant skill be its own unique identifier for just any skill, now it means we can only give you one of these kinds of perks at a time. So we need a way of offering like grant skill choice, and maybe this could have multiple choices. And then we need a way of parameterizing these things beyond just numbers. Yeah. And it's not impossible to solve. I'll probably just make the perks like I did with the abilities. Look at how we did abilities for guidance on how to do this stuff. Most perks can just be like int perk or float perk. Maybe with some custom formatting passed in. Enumerations can have associated values, but we don't need them in this case. I'm just going to make them like I did with the abilities. Can each adventure have all skills and then just set the value from 0 to something higher than 0? Yes. That could potentially work. The problem here is that the way we offer battle perks is like this. We have a dictionary of an ID to a certain amount of like what's the change in that perk. So the way we need to make this work with the system, if we just didn't want to make any changes really, is we need to code every single skill in here. So we need to say like rogue, quicker strike equals 9, and then like rogue, whatever, cloak of shadows or something equals 10, and so on and so forth. So we'd manifest like 70 skills in this enumeration when there's no real reason to do that. We could fetch all this data and do it dynamically. So yeah, I'll code that later today. And then we can do these things, show the stats in the adventures tab. I don't really have a lot of space for this, I guess. We can put another little panel under here, but we need to make sure there aren't so many stats. And I guess they all need tooltips. But yeah, for now, make a new panel and put it underneath the guild supplies. Actually, maybe above the guild supplies. Above the guild supply. I'm not sure where I'd want that to be, actually. Various stats that we generate, sure. Don't show the level up button anymore. Increase adventure level based on the perks and clean up. Yeah, so I think I can get done with all this stuff today, and then we'll be done with choosing battle perks, and we'll be moving on to the rest of this stuff. I think that we can get done with all of these ones that are highlighted maybe tomorrow. And then changing loot. Change the lose conditions, spend some time balancing stuff. Yeah, we could maybe produce a like totally unbalanced version for playtesters this week, but I don't think there's a point in doing that. I don't want to just rush things out to playtesters. I think there needs to be some semblance of balance that people can try to break and then tell me if this game mode is fun. By the way, I think it's worth asking if anyone wants to be a playtester, please read this document. It's a very simple process to get involved. You just DM me and then I add you to the playtest. But as far as expectations and everything, like you might want to read the rest of this stuff. I think it'd be helpful to get more playtesters. We are at something like maybe 25, but the number of active playtesters at any given moment is pretty low. And I definitely need more eyes on challenge mode. Not that it's accessible yet, but once it is accessible, you'd have access to it and then you would be able to give feedback on it. So yeah, like, is this concept of playing through Skeleseller this way fun? Is choosing battle perks, is choosing your temp perks, is this stuff good? Do you feel like there's excitement in a run? Does this game lend itself well to challenge mode? I mean, all in all, if we can get the first like unbalanced version of this game out in like a week, then it wasn't too expensive of a task to do. But yeah. Let's see how that goes. All right, I'm going to fill out the journal for now. I've been streaming for what, 2.5 hours? Yeah, that's not bad. Tuesdays and Thursdays are just meant to get me started, and that's it. So I'm going to probably stop now. Kept working through battle perks. Yeah. All right, so we're going to do this here, and we'll put this here. Tomorrow, I plan to stream the whole day, but we are getting some electrical work done, and I might not have power. If I don't have power, then I'll probably just stop for the day and not try to come back once I do have power. I think it's better to just work on a laptop and get my groove going there rather than like, oh, well, there's a 2-hour-long interruption and now try to get back in the swing of things. So yeah, I don't know, and I won't probably know until tomorrow. So if you come here tomorrow and there's no stream, it was because of that. All right, let me go find someone to raid. Oh, hey, let's raid TCAP. TCAP just played Skeleseller the other day. So let's show him some love. Thank you all for being here. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm pretty certain I'll be here for at least some portion of the morning. I just don't know how long it's going to be until I potentially lose power. But maybe it won't even happen at all. yeah, thanks for watching. There's some links if you want them, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.